guys, in this video I'm going to be recapping and sharing with you 6 TV shows that I enjoyed so far this year. So before I head into this video, I do have 6 shows that I'm going to be sharing with you guys. For all 6 of these shows, I do not plan on having any sort of spoilers about any of these shows. This is just going to be me talking in very vague detail about these shows, whether I enjoyed them, whether you should go check them out. And yeah, over here to the side, I will have like the promotional poster, if you will. I will put the promotional poster of whatever show I'm watching over here off to the side. That way, if you're not particularly interested in my thoughts on that show, you can, down here at the bottom, you can just skip your little pointer around until you find a show that looks interesting, if you want to hear my thoughts on that particular show. So yeah, let's get going, because I have a lot to go on about here. First up, I have The Completely Made Up Adventures of Dick Turpin, and this was a 6-part TV show on Apple TV Plus, starring Noel Fielding as the infamous highwayman of the 18th century Dick Turpin. So if you cannot tell from this title, The Completely Made Up Adventures of Dick Turpin, this is like very loosely inspired by highwayman Dick Turpin. Yeah, the show for the most part it's a very high comedy. It's a satire. It's poking fun at the time period and definitely kind of throwing in a lot of modern references and nuances, you know, kind of being a commentary on modern society in some ways through kind of the lens of the type of comedy that's being told in this show. I really enjoyed this show. I have said before that I am not really big into comedies, but I am a sucker for comedies when they kind of have like a historical fiction type of setting. Yeah, this show was fun, it was fast-paced, it was whimsical, it was wild, it plays fast and loose with history. It's not accurate by any means. It is highly it's highly anachronistic, like with the clothing and the hair and all that sort of thing. And yeah, like I said, it's very loosely based on the story of Dick Turpin, who was a real highwayman of the time period. And yeah, Noel Fielding, he plays this role with just such just fun, you know, such a fun and lightness and levity. He's just having a wild ride with this character. Yeah, he's always commenting about how he has luscious, wonderful locks of hair, and yeah, his clothing is fabulous, you know. Yeah, Noel Fielding, definitely the highlight of this show and kind of his brand of humor and comedy. So yeah, if you're into comedy shows, especially like historical period pieces like this, and if you're okay with historical liberties and historical anachronisms and whatnot, you might want to check this show because it was really fun. Next up, The New Look. The New Look aired on Apple TV Plus with 10 episodes, and what you need to know about The New Look, it starts off like in the 1950s, but then it quickly flashes back to what's going on in France in like the 1940s during World War II, and then kind of the aftermath of World War II in France. And we're following the stories and the journeys of fashion designers Coco Chanel, played by Juliette Binoche, and Christian Dior, played by Ben Mendelsohn. I went into this show, I knew nothing about Dior and Chanel. So a lot of this was really eye-opening, and from kind of the research I did with this show, a lot of it is fairly historically accurate. Once again, with shows like this, liberties are definitely taken, but you have those kernels of truth, obviously, that are in there. So yeah, I had a really fun time with this show. As much as I love historical period dramas, this is kind of the type of historical period drama that sometimes I don't really gravitate towards sometimes, like focusing on kind of more modern historical figures like this, you know, modern, you know, in a sense that it's barely been a century since these people were alive, you know. Yeah, I had no idea of the story of Dior and Chanel. It was really eye-opening. I felt like I learned stuff. Yeah, I'm not personally into fashion entertainment, you know, the history of fashion. I'm not really into that sort of thing. But yeah, this show managed to make that really interesting. Yeah, I liked learning about what Dior and Chanel got up to during World War II, because Chanel closes down all of her businesses, but Dior keeps all his businesses open, you know. But yeah, they're both treated a certain way during this time period. Dior is kind of applauded, and Chanel is like harassed and put to shame for some of her decisions that she makes and whatnot. And not only is it the story of Dior and Chanel, but there's a huge part of this show that's focused on Dior's sister Katrine, who is played by Maisie Williams. And yeah, Maisie Williams, her character Katrine is like a resistance. You know, she's part of the resistance in France, and yet she becomes like a prisoner of war. She's caught at one point, and she becomes a prisoner of war, and she's sent to a concentration camp. And yeah, a lot of the show is focused on that, and yeah, the aftermath of her coming out of that camp, and yeah, her trying to help find, you know, try to reconnect families and whatnot, and her trying to come to terms with the situation that she found herself in, and you know, and kind of rebuild her life. Yeah, I loved Maisie Williams in the role of Katrine Dior. I didn't know about her character as well. I didn't know about that whole thing with Dior having a sister in the French Resistance. You know, I had no idea about that whole thing. So that was eye-opening as well. So yeah, I recommend the new look. If especially if you still do like things involving like World War II, you know, and yeah, talking about what Dior and Chanel are up to during World War II, and how they keep their businesses afloat, you know, and then the aftermath of what happens in France. I like the new look. It was fun. It was entertaining. Had some heartbreaking moments in there. Next up, Manhunt. This was also on Apple TV Plus, and it had 7 episodes. And what you need to know about Manhunt, it's essentially the end of the Civil War. Abraham Lincoln is assassinated by John Wilkes Booth, and Secretary of War Edward Stanton is determined to find all of the conspirators involved in the killing of Abraham Lincoln. So yeah, that's where you get the title of Manhunt. It's a big, huge manhunt to find John Wilkes Booth and bring him to justice for what he did to Abraham Lincoln. And boy, oh boy, I love this show. We all know the story. You know, John Wilkes Booth assassinated Abraham Lincoln, but I think what a lot of people don't know is the aftermath of that and all of the craziness and insanity that happens, you know, during this manhunt to find him and find all of the people involved with him, and yeah, put all these people on trial. All of that is so fascinating and so complex. This show has these really wonderful moments of intensity and commentary. I really appreciated Tobias Menzies, who played the role of Edward Stanton. Edward Stanton is a character who he's determined to bring John Wilkes Booth to justice. He's determined to make Abraham Lincoln proud, you know, because now that he's dead and he can't see the America that he wanted to bring into fruition, you know, other people have to bring it to fruition now. So I love Tobias Menzies' performance in this. Dear God, that man. And oh my God, Anthony Boyle, you guys, Anthony Boyle as John Wilkes Booth, top notch, superb. He was chilling and grotesque. I loved his performance as this just maniacal, crazy person who thinks he did the right thing by killing Abraham Lincoln. But yeah, at the same time, still bringing a lot of complexity to John Wilkes Booth. You know, not sympathy, definitely not sympathy, but complexity. And I appreciated that. So yeah, if you're someone who, you know, your knowledge of what happens after, you know, the whole assassination, if it just kind of ends right there and you want to know more, this is definitely the type of show for you. Like I said, I think it's really action-packed in its own way. It's definitely very political. It has a lot of commentary. Yeah, very intense at times. Like, yeah, is John Wilkes Booth going to get caught? Because we know he does. We know he does, but at the same time, it's all still really intense. Like, is he? So yeah, I really loved Manhunt. A really good time. Next up, Franklin, another show on Apple TV Plus. Yeah, guys, there's a lot of really good stuff on Apple TV Plus this year, especially in regards to like historical period pieces and whatnot. And this show had 8 episodes, and what you need to know about Franklin is that it follows Benjamin Franklin during the American Revolution, but he is off over in France with his grandson, and Franklin is trying to navigate the complexities of the French-American alliance, because America needs money for this American Revolutionary War. And yeah, France is their best bet to win the war against England. I wasn't sure what to expect with Franklin, you guys, and I highly enjoyed it. It was a pleasant surprise. I was worried it was going to be really bad. I don't know why I thought that. For some reason, I just thought it was going to be kind of irritating and bad, but it was actually pretty good. I really highly enjoyed it. Playing Benjamin Franklin is Michael Douglas, who just fits this role perfectly, especially like age-wise, because Benjamin Franklin really was pretty old when he was doing this whole alliance with France and whatnot. He was pretty old, and he does historically he dies not too terribly long after everything plays out, you know, when he goes back to America and whatnot. So yeah, we have Michael Douglas playing Benjamin Franklin, and playing his grandson is Noah Jupe, and he's playing Temple Franklin. And we also have Ludivine Sagnier. she's a French actress. I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, but yeah, she's in this show as well, kind of playing a sort of love interest to Franklin. This show, once again, if you love historical period dramas, this is going to be like a must for you. Something that I appreciate about the show, because I am a sucker for European history. I prefer European history over American history, you guys. I don't know what it is, but I love the fact that even though this is about the American Revolutionary War in some ways, none of it takes place in America. It all takes place in France. It's all about the negotiations with Franklin and the French minister and whatnot, and trying to come to terms, and hey, we need money for this, we need ammo, we need weapons, we need ships, you know. It's all very complex and political and interesting. So not only is it about Franklin's attempts during this time period, but it's also very heavily about his grandson. Like I said, played by Noah Jupe. It's also very heavy with his grandson, and it's a coming of age story for this young man who's very innocent and ignorant and naive. And here he is in France, and he's exposed to all sorts of new things and new culture and new people, and he kind of starts changing into a whole different sort of person. And he starts off one way in this show and kind of becomes a different person by the end, and a really rocky middle ground to kind of get to that end point, you know. But yeah, it's definitely a coming of age story for this young man. And yeah, we get to see a lot of real historical figures in this show. Obviously, we get to see Louis the 16th, right? Do I got the right Louis? Yeah, we got Louis the 16th. You know, the French Revolution is just around the corner after this. And yeah, we get a few glimpses of Marie Antoinette. Yeah, we even have some American characters pop up. We have like John Jay, John Adams, you know, characters like that. They all kind of make some really surprising appearances. So yeah, if you once again love historical period pieces, I think this is really fun. It's not dark or heavy. I wasn't sure what type of show this was going to be. It's not a dark or heavy type of show. It does have a lot of levity and fun and humor with it, but it does know how to slow down and have some more darker, serious moments. But there's definitely some really comedic moments in this, and Michael Douglas is just having such a blast in his old age. Next up, I'm going to be talking about We Were the Lucky Ones, and this aired on Hulu with 8 episodes. And here's the gist of this show. What I'm about to tell you with this plot synopsis might sound like a spoiler, but this is a true story. This is based off of a true story, and I don't consider history to be a spoiler. So yeah, the gist of this show is that it follows a Jewish family in Poland during World War II, and their whole family is kind of split up over the course of this war. They're all in just various different locations around the globe. Their family gets split up. So the whole thing is them trying to reunite and make it out of this war alive. And the true life aspect of this show, because this is a book that was written by Georgia Hunter, I believe the writer is, and it's about her real life family who came out of World War II entirely intact. And that was like unheard of, you know. During World War II, there were whole families, you know, that you were lucky if even one member of your family made it out alive, you know, especially for, you know, like the Holocaust survivors and whatnot. So yeah, the whole gist of this show is the fact that the whole family makes it out. none of them die. There's moments where you think they're going to die, but they don't. So, like I said, that may sound like a spoiler, but I mean, that's the crux of this show, and the show is kind of letting you know that up front in some ways. I mean, the title alone, we were the lucky ones, you know. I love this show, you guys. Oh my god, it starred Joey King and Logan Lerman. Because Joey King was in this, and I've not heard a lot of really good things about Joey King as an actress. To be quite honest, I've never seen anything with her in it, and I've just always heard that she's not a really good actress. So I was a little hesitant going into this show, thinking it was going to be god awful. But I found Joey King's performance in this to be really fantastic and compelling. There's a particular moment kind of near the end of the show, maybe episode 6 or 7, I can't remember which episode, but she has this really just gut-wrenching, heart-wrenching moment. She just pours her heart out to the character who's playing her husband. That brought me to tears. So yeah, I think Joey King's performance in this was amazing, you guys. And yeah, Logan Lerman, we all know Logan Lerman. He played Percy Jackson in the original Percy Jackson movies. I loved him in this as well. Yeah, I just really thoroughly love this show, you guys. There are just some truly intense, harrowing moments in this show. Once again, it's about a family somehow that comes out of this war entirely intact, and just how do they get past some of these terrible moments where they should die but they don't. Some really truly intense moments, heartbreaking moments, moments that you're just going to be sobbing your eyes out, either out of fear or terror, or sometimes even joy. You're just crying your eyes out of joy. I love this show. It's about family, and yeah, family trying to reunite just across the entirety of this globe. They don't have any idea what's happening to other members in their family, you know, because communications are just completely locked off. It's a show about hope, love, family. That's your sort of thing, and check it out. And the last show that I'm going to be talking about here is The Tattooist of Auschwitz. This aired on Peacock with 6 episodes, and you guys, I hate to say this, out of everything on this list, as you can see, everything on this list that I've talked about so far, I've really highly enjoyed everything that I've talked about. But Tattooist of Auschwitz, you guys, I didn't really like it that much. It wasn't bad. Let me put it this way. I still liked it. I still liked it. I appreciated it. But, oh boy, I thought the pacing of this show was bad. I thought it was really sluggish. It felt like it just moved along so slowly. And there were just some editing choices, directing choices I didn't really particularly like that much. And yeah, I haven't even told you what the show is about. What you need to know, the show follows a young man played by Jonah Howard King. His character name is Lolly. Lolly has been sent to Auschwitz concentration camp during World War II because he's Jewish, and he becomes a tattooist. Obviously, from the title of this show, he is the one putting the tattoos on all of the Jewish characters as they come into the camp, and that's an ordeal. He definitely does not want to do it. He takes absolutely no joy, obviously, from doing it. And yet, every person that he puts a tattoo on, he apologizes to every single character that comes up to him. It's a horrible thing, you know, doing that to his own people. He's forced to do that to his own people, or he's going to die. So you have the character of Lolly, and then you also have his love interest, Gita. And this is another aspect of the show that kind of just... I kept rolling my eyes. I feel terrible for saying this because it's a show about the Holocaust, and I feel terrible saying this. But I did not particularly really like the romance going on between Lolly and Gita. I kind of found it a little eye-rolling on occasion and just so unbelievable. They essentially have a love at first sight. And it's like, what? How? Why? What? And I mean, it's all good and all in some ways. I mean, the direction the show does take and the things that they're willing to do for each other, but still, I just found that really hard to believe that these two people just find love in the most unlikely of places. It is based off of a true story, though. Their romance really did happen, as unbelievable as it sounds. Oh Lord, you guys. And I haven't mentioned Harvey Keitel yet. Harvey Keitel is playing the elderly Lolly, and he is talking to an author, the author who wrote Tattooist of Auschwitz, Heather Morris. Heather Morris in the show is being played by Melanie Linsky. And yeah, Heather Morris is coming to interview Lolly. He's telling her his life story at the camp, obviously. So we're getting told a lot of the information through that. And the big thing of this show, it's all about Lolly's memories. And once again, here comes some of my issues with a lot of just the editing of this show, how certain things are edited. There's just some moments in this show, because we're being presented Lolly's memories more than anything, sometimes we'll see multiple points of view. How something actually really played out versus how he thinks something played out. And I kind of didn't like that choice. I really honestly did not like that choice. Like seeing a scene played out again and again, like 2 or 3 times at times. Just tell me the story, for God's sake. So I didn't particularly like that element of the show, how multiple scenes would play out in different ways. I did. I had really conflicted feelings about this show. I did. I preferred We Were the Lucky Ones way more. We Were the Lucky Ones, just much more interesting, more well developed, more interesting characters. Yeah, unfortunately, Tattoo of Auschwitz didn't really do it for me, which is a shame because I was really looking forward to this show. I was looking forward to it more so than We Were the Lucky Ones, to be honest. And I did. I left I left the Tattoo of Auschwitz, the Tattooist of Auschwitz. I left that just being very, very highly frustrated and disappointed. It's not so much like the acting was fine. You know, the acting was fine. I didn't have a problem with that. But once again, it was the pacing of the show that was very sluggish. I didn't really like kind of some of the directing choices, some of the editing choices. The romance was kind of a little at times, which I feel terrible for saying because it is based off of a true romance. But yeah, I'm definitely curious how people felt about Tattooist of Auschwitz, because I'm definitely really confused and conflicted about it. So you guys, that is it for my thoughts and feelings on all 6 of these shows. In the comments below, has anyone else watched any of these shows? I feel like probably no one else has watched these shows but me. But yeah, hopefully maybe me quickly talking about some of them, I'm hoping maybe you'll get interested in a few of them. But yeah, if you have seen any of the ones that I have listed, yeah, please feel free to let me know how you felt about them, whether you liked them, hated them, whatever. So yeah, that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye, guys.